Hey guys, what's up? This is Insanity, and I have a gameplay of Call of Duty Black Ops 2 on a PC. This is a hardcore domination gameplay, and I think this is the first good gameplay I ever got of Black Ops 2. The final score is pretty good, but I won't really point it out. I don't really need to boast about it, especially given the number of uncommentated Black Ops 2 gameplays I have for my self-satisfaction. That being said, I think it's high time for me to finally bring up a interesting topic to talk about in my commentary. Usually my commentaries mostly have to do with the gameplay, although they're not a beat-by-beat commentary of what goes on in a gameplay. It still mostly has to do with the gameplay, so for once I will change that, and I'll probably do these kinds of commentaries and topic discussions on a longer video, so which means I can't really cut out too much if I want to talk about them. But yeah, so for the topic of discussion in this commentary, I recall seeing this video back then called Gaming in the Clinton Years, and I thought, wow, that could probably make for an interesting commentary. Not specifically gaming back then in the 90s, but more along the lines of what I did back then growing up in the 90s. And there are a couple aspects I'll discuss, but the main one for this commentary is entertainment, or that's kind of broad way of putting it, but more specifically, what did I do to entertain myself growing up back then? For those who grew up today, obviously they're living in a technical. I'm already flubbing this. I flubbed this word so much times, but they're living in a technological age and marvel, where they're obsessed with their smartphones glued to their computer screens, and are probably happy with the gaming consoles and handhelds they have access to play games with. But for those people, believe it or not, there was a time when things were much simpler and not quite as indulgent, I suppose, as it is now. Back then, obviously, there weren't a myriad of gaming consoles and handhelds to play games with. Things that I did to entertain myself back then. The biggest one, especially if you're a kid, is obviously playing with toys. I know that my mom likes bringing up my past a lot and things I used to do back then, and one of them, she always made note of me being very fond of toy cars back then. And even if I don't remember that, I do remember there being at least one time when I asked my dad to buy a toy car for me. I don't know if I threw a tantrum or begged him to get it for me, but I do distinctly remember that moment, so there indeed was a time when I was obsessed with toy cars back then. But other toys I would play with would also be fake lightsabers. Was most of them cars? Okay, maybe not. There's also the McDonald's toys, which thank goodness for the Happy Meals back then. Getting toys from the Happy Meals is a very kid thing to do. It's just kind of sad that you grew up to a point when playing with toys is no longer a thing. And also collecting toys from Happy Meals McDonald's Happy Meals, sorry, the other way around. There was a time when collecting toys from McDonald's Happy Meals was a thing, but not anymore. I think other than my sisters getting the Minions toys from the McDonald's Happy Meals, I think that time, the time when I got toys from McDonald's Happy Meals is a antique and treasure of my past, so that time has gone and it's no longer anything but a fond memory. Other things I did back then to entertain myself. Yes, a little athletics. Running, although I don't run a lot, I do like running, but my choice of athletics would be riding a bike. Yes, the bike with the training wheels. It took some time before I moved on to the bike without training wheels. But until then, I stuck to the one with the training wheels because I kept scraping my elbow and knees on the one without training wheels. And it was also rollerblading, which I'm not sure if I prefer that over bike riding. I think I would prefer bike riding just because it was safer, especially if I was on the training wheels. There was also a sense of thrill to bike riding that rollerblading didn't really convey too much. It took some time for me to get used to rollerblading since obviously there's no such thing as training wheels, so if you end up tripping, you're going to really hurt yourself and hurt your legs in particular. And then TV shows. TV shows and internet. That's something I'll discuss in another commentary because I think those are probably better suited off for a separate commentary than a broad one encompassing entertainment back then. But yeah, TV shows, just for reference, TV shows, surprisingly I didn't really watch a whole lot of television, or at least television stuff that I remember very fondly. And then in regards to internet, I think my usage of the internet was pretty limited back then. I don't really remember what I looked up, but maybe once I do the commentary on internet, then I'll probably recall the kinds of things I use the internet search engine for. And then of course, you cannot really have, if you have a gaming channel, you can't obviously have not grown up on games, and the gaming that I grew up back then was on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm not sure if I'll do... Actually, I think I might have done a commentary on gaming back then, but I'm not sure if I'll do a discussion on gaming in the 90s for me. So I'm just going to focus on everything but gaming. Except this commentary is about to wrap up pretty soon. I had to do multiple attempts for this. Maybe I'll finish up the rest if I have anything more to say, but I think until then, I'll probably move on to a different topic to discuss in our commentary. So I hope you guys enjoyed this different commentary for once, and Insanity is out.